Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Together we are the Office Blokes.
Yes.
It is true. We're going to check out a bit of Decoy voice. He's slightly humorous, but hot takes on certain topics.
Yeah.
To the point.
Yeah.
To the point.
Current affairs, things that are going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Interesting to listen to him just because it's sort of a different perspective of a lot of the stuff you see in the news about what's going on in the States and stuff.
So it's good to get other people's opinions as well.
Yeah.
Indeed it is.
Absolutely. So he's saying Chicago finally gets justice.
Yeah, right.
What's going on in Chicago?
This was 6 days ago.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what the context is of this.
Right, okay.
So we're going into it a bit blind, but I guess we shall see. Let's do it. Chicago finally gets justice.
As Chicago, Illinois continues its transformation into third world living at first world prices, many law-abiding residents are quickly discovering that their safety is entirely up to them, as Chicago coppers appear to be relegated to just witnessing crime. And now a man just known as Chicago Gary has taken justice into his own hands and feet.
Chicago Gary.
I was going to say it's not a very... I don't associate Gary with being much of an American name, really, but it probably
more
is.
of Indiana.
Well, we've got Gary, Indiana, haven't we?
right,
It's got to be
yeah.
after someone. I just always think of it as like English guys that have got to be at least 45, 50 years old.
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah.
It's not a young
I've got a
name,
mate
is
called
it?
Gary. He was just, he's just had his 60th birthday.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. Come on.
Which one's Chicago Gary?
What a booted him, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Gary.
Gary.
I think that guy might be losing the fight.
And although I understand why Gary went to such drastic measures, it's still sad to see that PD can no longer be relied upon for safety, as we've covered on this channel how bad crime is becoming in Chicago, and also how thugs only respond to those who are bold enough to stand up for themselves. Because just compare that guy's posture to when he thought Gary
He's
would
got a
back
knife.
down
Did you
Got
see
something in
it?
his hand,
He
hasn't
had
he?
a knife.
That was the gang left trying to rob him or something then?
for themselves.
the-
Because just compare that guy.
He's definitely got some sort of sharp
Yeah,
objects.
looks-
Yeah,
He's
got a
got
mask
some,
on, hasn't he,
yeah.
as well? So
See-
I'm guessing he's trying to rob him on the right then, isn't he?
It's a strong possibility. He's definitely hassling him, harassing him in
Yeah.
some sort of way. But you've got a weapon in your hand. That's
Yeah, you've got to be careful, haven't you? Got to be careful.
Beat down that, innit?
it's go time,
Yeah.
isn't it? You can't stop until
Yeah.
someone's not moving.
Guy's posture to when he thought Gary would back down to when he realized that Gary wasn't backing down. And although not all of us live in lawless liberal utopias, protecting yourself should be a concern no matter where you are. That's why it's great that Private Internet Access
Hey.
sponsored this video. They provide the best VPN for your computer, phone, or whatever devices that wants to see. But not only that, it also allows you to connect to your favorite streaming services as well, as oftentimes these apps, including YouTube, will limit access. So click my link in the description to get 83% off and 4 months free of Private Internet Access. Now Chicago can
Do we know where this guy lives? Because he
No.
just
No, I
talked
don't
about
think
like
so.
lawless liberal utopias and things like that.
Don't know.
I'll be interested
Not
to know
sure.
where he is.
Yeah.
can't seem to get their crime under control.
Chaos outside a South Loop 7-Eleven Sunday night. The crowd seen here rushing out of the store with their arms full of items, some throwing them in the air. Inside the store, aisles were ravaged and ransacked.
Because their mayor, who previously called to defund the police, only cares about not calling these criminals mobs.
That's not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Okay, hold on a second, okay?
He almost
Respectfully,
lost it then, didn't he?
these large gatherings,
So now their auto thefts are skyrocketing.
while straight auto thefts are significantly higher, according to data obtained tonight by the ABC 7i team.
And their mayor's solution is to sue Korean automakers for making easy-to-steal cars, which really goes to show how brain dead.
It was a TikTok thing, wasn't it? Like people figured out how to break into Kias and steal them,
Yeah.
like in seconds.
Yeah.
There was some sort of design flaw, and there was like a viral challenge of people just going and nicking them
Right.
and filming it.
Yeah.
So apparently that is supposed to be true. There's a really bad design flaw
Yeah.
that's been fixed. But still, you can't sue the car maker for that.
It's still against the law to steal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
These people are. And not only the mayor, I'm talking about anybody that would still support him after all this nonsense. Because I'm certain Korea could make vehicles that have no locks and with the keys just built into the ignition, and Korean cities would still have less auto thefts than Chicago. But no, it's just easier for the mayor to blame Asian automakers. And maybe that's because he didn't know there was a difference between Hyundai Koreans and rooftop Koreans. I guess we all look the same to him. But Chicago's problems don't stop with the Koreans, as their migrant crisis is now overflowing their airports and even their police stations.
150 migrants that call this their homes.
Now the migrants are demanding Chicago give them paid job training and housing, which I really wonder who supplied them with these signs. But now Black Chicago residents are outraged.
We come in a community of black people where we already get the low scraps. And then you want to take the little scraps, the resources that we have, and put us at the bottom of the barrel? That's not fair, and I won't have it.
As their youth programs are getting kicked out on the street to make room for another migrant shelter. Now the mayor doesn't seem to want to budge on Chicago's status as a sanctuary city.
14 buses today. We're getting word that it could be as many as 22. You know, this is a growing crisis, not just for the city of Chicago, but for the entire globe. The population shift that we are experiencing as a result of the failure of federal policies is now impacting the people of Chicago in a very dramatic way.
Where are the migrants from, do you think?
South America, I would say. Latin America.
Right.
Mexico,
Right, yeah.
Central America, South America.
Yeah.
And they're fleeing persecution or, you know...
I mentioned a lot in Central America, yeah. You know, your El Salvador's, Honduras,
Yeah.
Right.
Nicaragua, places like that.
Fair enough.
Plans to visit the border as if that will somehow solve anything, and blames his ineptitude on being a dad.
Look, I'm still running a major city. I have children who attend schools who have soccer games, y'all. You know, you all are asking me as if I'm not a parent in this city. With a black wife raising 3 black children on the west side of the city of Chicago.
So he does somewhat have a valid point in the sense that a lot of major cities have mayors that have babies, but only Chicago has a mayor that is a baby, as literally every metric that measures quality of life for both citizens and non-citizens of Chicago is tanking. And to recap, his responses have been defund the police, don't call them mobs of criminals, they're large gatherings, stop complaining, I have a family, and the cherry on top, even though I can't fix the problem, I'm gonna go run to a red state for a while. Because sadly, the migrant crisis in Chicago can only get worse. As after Hamas made very serious statements for Friday, Chicago seems to already have thousands of pro-Palestine supporters that celebrate the attacks. Not to mention their chapter of BLM has openly supported the paragliders that did horrendous things overseas. The same Chicago BLM.
I remember seeing that. Did you see that picture when it first went round?
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's literally the paragliders that were
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's an awful taste.
Supported the paragliders that did horrendous things overseas. The same Chicago BLM that supported looting.
If somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That's reparations. That is reparations.
So much that Walmart has now closed several locations in Chicago, and the mayor's response is, let's open government-run stores instead, which I think this ultimately reveals what their endgame has been this entire time: communism. And I say this somewhat jokingly, but also, where's the flaw in that logic? They disarm their community, use crime to make capitalism impossible, imported an entirely dependent lower class, and now seek to create a system completely run by the government. But to be fair, Chicago does seem to be safe from mean tweets. And that's what this all comes down to. People always think they can be on the right side of social justice until it turns on them. It reminds me of this old video from the BLM riots in Chicago.
Why are you... We're on your side! We're on your side! Holy We're on your side! We're on your side!
And those kids in that apartment can represent any number of people. Liberal voters getting exactly what they voted for, liberal mayors watching their own policies destroy their political careers, or basically anybody that thinks the powers of social justice won't hesitate to destroy them next. And unfortunately for them, not everybody has a Chi-Town Gary to save them. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how vigilantes in Los Angeles are doing what the cops can't.
It's sad to see any place that seems to be going down the pan a little bit.
It's happening all over the world, don't know, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah.
It's happening in the UK.
It's difficult to know on the exact politics of some of the things that were on there, though, isn't it? As to what's actually going on and,
Yeah,
you know, hearing both sides of the story sort of thing.
I think the defund the police thing was a big one because a lot of people called for it, and I was
Oh,
listening.
yeah.
I listened to people talk about it at the time, and they're saying no, give more money to the cops, better training,
Yeah.
more time to spend learning,
Yeah.
rather than just a few months training. You're out on the job and
Yeah.
you've got to go
Yeah.
and deal with stuff. Take away the funding, and then your house gets burgled, and you phone the police, and they turn up 12 hours later.
You guess it'd be more police and more training.
That's
that
what
they'd
you'd think.
need.
That's what, like, logically you'd think.
Well, yeah.
The world's gone nuts.
Yeah,
I'd
I think it's a global thing, though. I think when, like you sort of said, it's all over the place,
Yeah.
isn't it? When
The money that's being spent in the wrong areas to try and sort of like organise, get yourself organised. I mean, you can't help migration. That's the biggest problem that seems to be across the globe.
Yeah.
At the moment is migration.
You think the politicians will be able to get together? It should be like a cross-party consensus, shouldn't it?
Not
Say,
is
right,
it?
this is what we're going to do about it, rather
They're all
than
fighting for their own power, aren't they?
squabbling
Yeah.
about it and fighting against each other. You know, I think it's something that's bigger than that. I think it should be part of a political thing, like migrants and people, things like that.
Yeah.
It should be like cross-party, and everyone should get together. Right, come on, how are we going to sort this out?
But they're competing for each other's jobs
they wanna
constantly.
vote.
Oh yeah,
So
I know, yeah, but
That legal migrant you support
Yeah.
and try and get legal status will then vote for you. That's another vote.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
that's always been the case, hasn't it?
Mhm.
He touched on something there about closing down youth clubs. I think turning them into migrant centres or something.
Yeah, so we said football pitches and stuff.
And I think there's been a big correlation in this country over the past couple of decades of shutting down youth services and crime going up.
Yeah.
And the government seems to be scratching their head going, I don't know why all these young kids are causing trouble in
Yeah.
town centres.
Yeah.
And it's like they've got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
We need stuff to do,
Yeah.
especially at night time. We need things to do, don't we? Places to go. We used to have youth clubs,
Yeah.
and had Bowden Vale Club. People used to go there at the weekends. Used to be absolutely fine, but
I think like churches have still got youth clubs. That's about it. And
Right.
most
I'm
young
sure the same,
kids.
tiny little kids, aren't they?
Yeah, well, most young kids. There was a youth club at the one in Hale, the Baptist church, I think it was, when I was a kid. That was for teenagers. So people
Yeah.
I knew that were 15, 16 were going there.
See the vicar.
No, they're a bit old. bit old. But yeah, if you don't give people somewhere to go, then what are they going to do? They're going to hit the streets. They're going to get bored. They're going to start causing trouble, and then mobs form, and then
yeah.
windows get broken, and then it
Gets
sort
the
of
shit,
escalates
exactly,
from there.
Yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers,
Cheers.
guys.